Congressman, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Wolf.
As you just heard, some of your Republican colleagues up on Capitol Hill, they're now going much further than the president in their criticism of Russia. Are they going far enough?
Certainly they are not. There's some criticism here or there, but overall, when you think about the Republicans in the House of Representatives and a small but growing subset that I refer to as the cover-up caucus, they have refused to recognize that we don't work for Donald Trump. We work for the American people. We are a separate and co-equal branch of government, and we have a responsibility of making sure that we serve as a check and balance on an out-of-control executive. Time and time again, Donald Trump has been out of control, yet the Republicans have refused to hold him accountable, to undertake our responsibilities, to have hearings, to bring forth information to the American people. And so a handful of members who are uttering criticisms, many of whom are in tough re-election campaigns, doesn't cut it.
The U.S. ambassador to the United Nations, Nikki Haley, says the United States, in her words, will never trust Russia. Do you think there's anything Republicans can say that will convince the president to reconsider this summit?
Well, that's not clear based on the fact that the president seems to have made up his mind. He wants to continue to play footsie with Vladimir Putin. Apparently, he's willing to criticize everyone else, all of our allies, whether that's Great Britain or France or Germany or Mexico or Canada or Australia or NATO, the European Union. He doesn't mince words when it comes to the people who are part of the free world, and yet he refuses to criticize Vladimir Putin, who we know is a thug and a dictator and who engineered an attack on our democracy. That's unfortunate. But what's been made clear is that while we as Democrats, we're going to continue to stand for the people and work on issues of lowering health care costs and raising pay and cleaning up corruption, Donald Trump's going to continue to stand for Vladimir Putin, and that's shameful.
The White House says President Trump is considering pulling security clearances from several former national security and intelligence officials who have publicly criticized him. The House Speaker, Paul Ryan, says the president is just trolling people. How do you see it?
Well, this is the president of the United States of America. This is not trolling. This is irresponsible presidential conduct. And the Republicans need to step up and try to rein in the leader of their party. This is not innocent behavior. This is behavior that undermines the very fabric of our democracy. The notion that we have separate and co-equal branches of government, that there are checks and balances, that a president is not a monarch or a dictator, notwithstanding the fact that Donald Trump often fancies himself in that fashion. And there's a responsibility that Speaker Ryan and Mitch McConnell and other Republicans in the cover-up caucus have to stop normalizing this presidential behavior, stop excusing it, and begin to confront it with the aggressiveness that it deserves.
Do you think this is just a distraction, Congressman, or is it potentially a real threat to national security?
Well, I think it is designed perhaps as a distraction that Donald Trump threw out there in the ether to try to walk away from the attention that other things that he's done that is irresponsible have cast upon the White House and 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue and the Mueller investigation and the seriousness of it and the fact that we need to allow it to proceed so he can report to the American people. But we also have to make sure that we don't allow this aberrant behavior to be normalized. And there are concerns when the president continues to try to do things that are unprecedented, that fundamentally undermine our intelligence fabric, our national security fabric, because that does relate to the safety and security of the American people.
During a speech before a group of conservative high schoolers today, the Attorney General of the United States, Jeff Sessions, repeated the words, "Lock her up," and then laughed as the crowd chanted the phrase. I want you to listen to the clip. Listen to this, Congressman.
Lock her up.
All right, that was a pretty common refrain, as you remember, during the 2016 presidential campaign trail, directed clearly at Hillary Clinton. How disturbing is it to you that that kind of rhetoric comes up at an event like this and the top law enforcement official in the United States responds with a lock her up and a smile and a laughter?
It's incredibly disturbing, and Jeff Sessions is an embarrassment. He's a disgrace. He should be ashamed of himself. and he's not fit to continue to be the Attorney General of the United States of America. The notion that the top law enforcement officer in the nation would entertain that type of reckless rhetoric, those folks need to get over the fact that the presidential race in 2016 is over. And perhaps with Russia's assistance, Donald Trump is the President of the United States of America. They should be more concerned about the illegal activity, the conspiracy, the collusion, the aberrant behavior that was taking place by Paul Manafort and Michael Flynn and Papadopoulos, Carter Page, and all of the other individuals who have either pled guilty, have been indicted, or continue to be under investigation. This is a distraction that is designed to divert from the fact that there's a serious ongoing criminal investigation that's taking place that could expose one of the most gravest conspiracies to take place between individuals and a foreign power ever to occur in the history of the Republic.
Yeah, it's interesting that the Trump presidential campaign chairman, Paul Manafort, is he's locked up in jail right now awaiting trial. Congressman Jeffries, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks so much, Wolf.